Have you ever wondered about Romans chapter 1, verse 20? It says that the invisible things of God from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they were without an excuse. I used to think about that a lot as a pastor and wonder, like, how is it that our bodies, because, Adam was created in the image of God, and so you would think back and realize that that which was created in the image of God to describe the image of God was Adam and Eve. And so I was just wondering, like, how does it come about that we can see from the things that have been made, specifically in the image of God, to understand the eternal power and Godhead? So I remember really wrestling with this idea, trying to think through, like, what is it? How does it work? And I came to an understanding that I think will be helpful if you've never thought about this before. You see, our bodies are made in the image of God. We, as humans, are created in the image of God, and it blows my mind to be able to think this through, because, like, we as humans, really? Well, yeah, God is actually described as having a face and having hair, having legs, a back, a hand, right arm. God has nostrils. God has a mouth. The Bible makes it very clear that we are worshiping a God that it has a form. And so we're in the form or the image of God. And so trying to describe that using the natural things of creation, think about this for a minute. You see, your head is made up of twos, believe it or not. You have two eyes, one on the right hand and the other on the left, and they both work together in unison. Could you say in the same spirit? So your ears are the same way. You have two ears that are supposed to work together in unison. You have two nostrils that do the same thing. They work together in unison. I'm speaking right now because I'm using several twos. Two vocal cords. I'm using two sides of my one tongue. I'm using two sets of lips, if you will, two sets of teeth. And I have two arms or hands and thumbs and pinkies and elbows, shoulders, that are all working together in unison, or at least they're supposed to be working together in unison. Sometimes you can't use one arm or whatever because of an accident or some kind of situation, but we have two lungs, we have two kidneys, we have two major lobes of the heart. There's four really, but there's two major sections there. You have two legs, two knees, two ankles, 2 feet. And they're all supposed to work together in one. And that to me makes so much more sense than saying, like, okay, we have soul, body, and spirit, and that is how God has made us as humans reflect the image of God, because there's three. No, there really isn't three. You see, when God created Adam and Eve, he brought them forth in his own image. But what he had said is, he said, let us make man in our image. And so as a result of God speaking to somebody else, who is the somebody else? Well, of course, it was his son. The Bible says, Hebrews chapter 1, verse 2, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 9, Colossians chapter 1, 15 and onward through like 17, and John chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. We can see the Bible makes it very clear that Christ was the one that created, but it was God that gave him the ability to do so. So God the Father, in Genesis 1:26, was saying, let us make man in our image. And so the Father said to the Son, let us make man. So there was a Father speaking to a Son. Now, why was this important? Well, because the Father had brought forth the Son from himself. We call that begotten, okay? And in the same way, Eve was brought forth from Adam. We call that begotten or brought forth, right? And so you're going to say, oh, the Bible never says that. Well, put your mind into it and think it through. That's actually what it is. Adam was laid to rest, and there was something brought forth from his side. It was a rib, and from that rib, Eve was formed. Well, Eve was in the form of Adam, just as Christ was in the form of God, and then he later came in the form of a servant. You can read that in Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 through 7. So here, looking at this idea of Christ being the one that God created through, God said to Christ, let us make man in our image. And as a result, you have Adam and Eve. You don't have Adam, Eve, and somebody else, right? And so they were together in one spirit, along with the Father and the Son, along together in one spirit. along with all the angels together in one spirit. And so for me, the idea of two working together as one makes perfect sense. And I believe that God has been able to share that with me so that I can share it with you, and that you could help others understand the deep and important things about creation and us being in the image of God, and how we as humans in the image of God, made up of twos working together, reflect the Father and the Son working together. What do you say? Leave something in the comments, share this if you like it, and God bless you.